What time is it? All time! What time is it? All time!
Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter podcast. All the news from the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorda.
And we are live. Welcome to the Ringside Reporter show, where we talk about the latest boxing news. If it's related to boxing, we'll talk about it here. My name is Eric Lorta, and I'm here with my co-host Joe Habib. We got a great show for you today. No phones today. No, we're not taking any calls. It's Christmas Eve, guys, and we're here. We chose to spend it with you. Beeb, it's Christmas.
Christmas is upon us. Feliz Navidad.
There we go. That's important. That's important.
How's that?
That's important. We touch different countries, so there you go.
Alhamdulillah.
What did you just say?
Alhamdulillah, man.
All right, let's get it started. All right, so I went to buy this pay-per-view yesterday, right? Because I thought it was a good card, and I'm like, this will be good. So I go to DAZN to order this pay-per-view. Those morons at DAZN will not let you buy the pay-per-view. You have to package it with one of their packages, right? You have to package it with a year subscription, a 6-month, or a month-to-month. I'm like, are you serious? And like the one is like a contract where you will pay for, it's like a 12-month contract. It's insane. It is insane. So I went ahead and ordered. I could have ordered it off DirecTV. I went ahead and ordered it off ESPN Plus. So we could do. Luckily, they had it on there because I'm like, I'm not paying for DAZN. I'm not. This is just stupid.
Did you hear what happened during the main event? The audio went out for like the first 3 rounds.
Oh yeah, audio issues. Yeah,
buffer. People were telling me it buffers, and it does buffer.
It was, yeah, it happened quite a few times during that stream on ESPN. And it's not ESPN because their streams never crash. I mean, it's pretty rare. I've never had an ESPN stream crash anyway.
Yeah. But a couple times, the screen went black for a second or two.
Yeah.
It was buffering. So they still haven't worked out the bugs. And a lot of people always think that we just are going in hard on DAZN and hammering them for no reason. But they keep loading the gun and giving us the ammunition to hammer them, man. Because they keep doing stupid things. And the commentary is horrible. It's always bad.
It's bad. It's really bad. They had, I tell you, again, this is a multi-million-dollar corporation.
Yes.
You're putting on satellite feeds and everything like that.
Yeah.
Don't you think maybe, that people are plunking down money to see this? And the people that actually don't buy the subscription, right? But if they watch this on ESPN and they enjoy the content and they enjoy, what they're seeing and what they've saw and all the announcers and everything like that, they'd be more apt to buy. I would say, you know what? I think I'm going to go to DAZN. I think I'm going to get that. I really enjoyed this broadcast.
Absolutely. It's good advertisement for the brand.
And they really just keep shooting themselves in the foot with nonsense.
Absolutely.
We're not the only ones that complained about those announcers.
No. You go on Twitter and you can hear it. And here's the thing too. You don't have to be a fan of Big Baby Miller. But then when Big Baby Miller lost, you had Tony Bellew, you had Sergio Mora. Oh, I'm glad we never have to see him again. I'm glad he lost. He's a drug cheat, blah 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 blah. And again, is that what you're supposed to say during a broadcast if you're an unbiased analyst and announcer during the fight? You don't have to like the guy.
Yeah.
Right? But you weren't saying these things before the fight started, and the platform that you work for put the fight on. So they had no problem with doing it. So now you want a Monday morning quarterback it when he were you going to say those things if he blew out Daniel Dubois? Would you have said, "Oh, I'm sorry that he won. I wish he lost, so we didn't have to see." No. So again, that's not your job. And then Frank was being interviewed by Adedipo at the end of the whole telecast, and Frank just mentioned a good fight for Joshua would be Zilly Zhang. And then you had Adi Depot go, oh, I see what you're trying to do there, Frank. No, we don't need that. We don't need that. Why don't we need that? Because Joshua is your buddy. You don't want to see Joshua lose. It's like they're too fanboyish over there.
Yeah.
They're too biased against certain people and too biased for certain people. And the thing about Showtime is you can say what you want about those guys, but Al Bernstein said it best last week. We don't feed into narratives. And we just call the fights the way they are,
right?
And that's what you should do. I just think that there's too much fanboying over there. There's too much bias commentary over there, and I just don't. I don't like the broadcast team. I don't mind Darren Barker. I don't mind Chris Mannix. Chris Mannix is actually decent most of the time.
I'm not a big Chris Mannix guy. Yeah, not a Mannix guy.
But everyone else over there is really Sergio Mora is very bad.
Awful.
He's very bad.
Completely awful.
We're gonna get into some of his commentary too. And I'm not nitpicking, but we're gonna get into some of the things he said, and I'm gonna kind of debunk a little bit when he was talking about the Joshua Wallin fight because Well,
let's talk about it. Yeah, let's talk about the zone card here, man. And we're gonna start with at the very top, man. Anthony Joshua versus Otto Wallin. Anthony Joshua smashed Otto Wallin, man, to win by TKO at the end of the 5th round. Joshua controlled every minute of this fight.
He did.
If anyone was taking the upset card here, and let me tell you what, a lot of people said if you had to pick and there was an upset on this card, you would have absolutely picked Otto Wallin to upset AJ.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Most people
would have said Joshua Wallin. Go ahead. I'm sorry. What did you say?
I was going to say, I would have thought that would have been the most competitive fight.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely, man. But Joshua, let me tell you what, he was able to dictate the pace. He was able to put Wallin on the back foot. He punches in combinations. Let me tell you what, AJ punches in combinations better than a lot of heavyweights. He's not the best out there, but to me, this is always when he wins, that's the difference, is those punches. He puts punches in combinations. His footwork looked good. But I will tell you this, the biggest thing about Anthony Joshua, and we know this for a fact, he's coachable, right? He's not afraid to go in there, learn a different way to do things, and he adapts and he does it. You know what I mean? He's very coachable. We've seen this throughout his career. We've seen him fight different ways. And here's the other thing. Joshua actually got Wallin out of there, which is something Fury didn't do. Everything Wallin wanted to do, man, Joshua's just better. He looked calm. He looked better defensively. I mean, what were your thoughts on this?
So I thought Joshua did phenomenal. It was masterclass. And I thought the key to the fight would be the jab, but the jab was even more successful than I anticipated. And Wallin's a guy whose main weapon is his jab. 70% of his punches are jabs. So if you out jab him and you force his jab to be ineffective because you're getting off first with yours, then that's half the battle right there. He can't win a fight when you're doing that. And so much gets made of this lead foot outside of the southpaw's lead foot. And I remember Emanuel Stewart used to talk about this when they used to bring it up a lot during the HBO telecast. And he used to say, don't read too much into that. He's not a big believer in that 100%. And it's a lot of it's nuanced. And yes, when you do throw the power hand anyways, when you're throwing the power hand, the backhand, you tend to slide that lead foot out to your left anyways. That's how you get leverage. That's how you get leverage on it. And that's how you position yourself to shift the weight on that foot because you're setting up the left hook off the right hand, right? Yeah. But when you're throwing a jab and you're throwing a jab, starting out the offensive attack and the punch sequence with stepping out and keeping that lead foot outside the southpaw's lead foot, that jab's going to either hit your opponent's lead hand or it's going to sail over to the left of his shoulder, right? So what Joshua did do, if I watched it closely, is he made that little subtle move with his lead foot and put it just inside, right? And he already had the reach advantage. So he was jabbing inside of Wallin's jab. So instead of, there were times when he would just touch it just to kind of get the feel, but then he would make that little subtle move to his right. Now, again, you don't have to go all the way to the right whereas if you're walking into the left hand, but if you just make that little subtle move, you can get your jab off inside of your opponent's jab. And because he had the reach advantage, he was getting off first and his jab was landing. And when Wallin would try to jab, he couldn't reach him because he was out of range. So Joshua did a lot of subtle movements to set these shots up. And when he did throw the right hand, he would slide. That's when he slid that, his lead foot outside of Wallin's lead foot, which is a move that you do anyways, because when you're stepping in, you're pushing off the back foot with the jab. And in order to land that right hand, you have to slide that back foot forward a little bit so you can get the right hand off anyways. And that little half step that you take forward, you're already kicking the lead foot out to the side anyways. So if you're throwing the right hand properly, your lead foot is going to be outside the southpaw's lead foot. But that's not necessarily the case when you're throwing the jab. I mean, you don't spend the whole time looking down at your feet. Oh, I got to make sure that my lead foot is outside of the southpaw's lead foot, because that's overthinking it, and that's oversimplifying it, and that's taking all the nuance out of a game plan, right? That's the thing. And if you want to throw the lead right hand, if you want to touch the jab, touch with the lead hand, just so you can gauge distance, throw like a feeler out there, and you want to set up the right hand, the lead right hand off that, and then you want to come back with the left hook. Yeah, of course, that again, when it's that lead foot's always going to kick out once you throw the back power hand. Right. And you're sliding forward. So Mora was like, oh yeah, he's keeping his lead foot outside the whole time. He wasn't doing it the whole time, Mora. That's not what he was doing. You're oversimplifying, and you're coming to a conclusion that's not true. And Emmanuel Stewart said this. I've had trainers in the gym tell me that don't sit there and worry about where your foot is. I mean, just create the angle. As long as you're creating the punch angle for yourself, that's all that matters. And you're establishing your range, and you're not off balance, and you're not overreaching with your shots. That's all that matters. This whole thing that, we got to spend the whole fight making sure that our lead foot is outside our opponent's lead foot. No, that's that. He was jabbing inside Wallin's jab, and then he slid the lead foot out. So I thought it was beautiful what happened in the way he executed that game plan. He was stepping in with the jab hard, getting off first, and it was similar to what Bam was doing against Sonny. You had one guy who was throwing a jab that he really couldn't get off because he couldn't get in range because he was at a reach disadvantage. And when he was getting it off, it wasn't enough to stop Joshua, just like Sonny's wasn't enough to stop Bam. So Joshua, there was no hesitation, got off first, and he was stepping in with everything he threw. Everything had most of these punches, for the most part, had bad intentions on him. And you saw as a result of that, look at Wallin's face, how it looked at the end of a lot of those exchanges. So
he got demolished. I mean, we've never seen, like I said, everybody's basing Wallin's performance, against Fury. That's kind of like the measuring stick. And Fury couldn't get rid of him. But let's face it, that was a one-sided fight. It was. After that headbutt or punch or whatever it was in the second round that cut Fury open, that was a one-sided fight from that point on.
I scored at 9-3.
Yeah.
But obviously Joshua's performance is going to be looked at as a more impressive performance because he got the stoppage and he won every round, and there was no drama in this fight whatsoever. None. And people will have recency bias. They'll do comparative analysis, and you always talk about the combat math thing that doesn't really always pan out. Because if we're going to play combat math, let's do it with Usyk and Fury. Okay, Fury stopped Chisora twice. They fought him 3 times, and the last 2 times he fought him, he stopped him easily. He outboxed him easily the first time they fought.
Right.
What did Usyk do with Chisora? I had that fight 7-5.
He had a rough time. He had a rough time with Chisora.
So are people going to look at that and say, oh, well, because of that? Same thing with Pacquiao Marquez and Mayweather, that little love triangle that we had.
Mm-hmm.
Marquez knocked Pacquiao with one shot. Does that mean Mayweather's going to knock out? No. Pacquiao Mayweather went the distance, and Pacquiao won like 4 rounds in that fight. So you could argue that Marquez had the more impressive victory than Mayweather did. But
Absolutely did. Yeah.
But look what Mayweather did to Marquez when they fought. So we could do this combat math all day, and it doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to have a definitive outcome.
Doesn't work.
It doesn't work because fighter A beats fighter B, and then fighter
Styles.
B fights fighter C. Fighter C beats fighter A. But again, it's all styles, and it's also levels. So, and Joshua does do better against taller guys. I know D-Style and I were talking about that. He tends to have problems against the shorter guys because he doesn't like punching down. He likes punching straight ahead. He doesn't like having to lower his shots. He doesn't, he can change levels a little bit, but he likes pretty much to fight straight up. He doesn't like to bend a lot and change levels, and that's not his game. He feels more comfortable when he can fight upright at a distance.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
So,
Let's talk about this here. So Anthony Joshua may be the second best heavyweight in the world right now, Beeb. I mean, let's face it. Tyson Fury may have gotten old overnight. I mean, think about it. We all had him losing to Ngannou. Let me say that again. Francis Ngannou, former UFC champion, not a boxing champion.
Yeah.
Professional debut, Francis Ngannou.
Yeah.
Based on that performance, Tyson Fury has to beat Usyk to prove me wrong. He really does. I'm taking Usyk based on what I saw in that last fight. And you have to at least have Joshua as the second best heavyweight in the world based on his resume and based on that fight last night. They had all those heavyweights up there. Joshua had the most impressive performance.
So at this particular time, you have Usyk, Joshua, and you have Fury at number 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't even know that I have. Again, Fury is going to have to beat Usyk to change my mind because what I saw in his last fight, he looked completely old, couldn't pull the trigger. Ngannou, Francis, and what do you think AJ would do to Ngannou? Huh? What do you think AJ would do to Ngannou?
Yeah.
And I don't care what you say. You could say, well, he didn't train. He didn't blah, blah, blah. Listen, if we put Mike Tyson out there with Francis Ngannou, what do you think happens?
Yeah.
Right? Am I wrong?
Well, even if Ngannou was better than we thought he was, it's still, I can never try to wrap my head around why that fight was so close. Maybe his footwork was better than Fury thought. Maybe he didn't anticipate him being able to box as well as he did. So you could train for a guy and expect one thing, and then when you get in there, he shows you another. But again, when you're at this level, you have to adapt. You have to have plan A's and B's and C's in this game.
Can we agree that Tyson Fury's sparring partners were probably better than Ngannou? Technically,
I would say, I would like to think that I would probably say that. Yeah, I don't want to be disparaging. I don't want to be disparaging to Ngannou.
Right, but technically, if we were to take all things at face value, technically,
yeah,
his sparring partners were probably better technically than Francis Ngannou. Yeah. So why don't you tell me what happened in that fight?
Hey, listen, everything you're saying right now has validity to it, and I can sit here and take the counter argument, but once again, my counter argument doesn't mean shit if February 17th, that Fury that we saw against Ngannou shows up again.
Yeah.
Now we could sit there and say, I believe 277 is way too heavy for Fury. When he fought Dillian White, he weighed 264. I think 264 is a sweet spot. So if he comes, I think he needs to come in at 264. I don't think bigger is better against Usyk. I mean, you're already even at 264, 260. You're still going to have a 40. You're still going to have a 40 pound weight advantage.
Yeah.
So why do you need a 60-pound weight advantage? Again, you're older. Your joints are have to carry that extra weight. You're going to get tired. So Fury shows up on February 16th at the weigh-in, and he's in the 260 range, 260, 264-ish. I think that's great. That's a step in the right direction. If he steps on the scale at 277 against Usyk, that's a bad sign, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. Could the legs be gone? Could the desire be gone? Right?
I think so. I mean, his body has been through quite a bit. Let's not forget that part either.
Yeah.
I mean, again, when you're gaining and losing, and your body, it takes a toll on your body.
Yeah.
It takes a toll. And how old is he right now? How old is Tyson Fury?
35. But
35.
Usyk's like 36, 30. He's going to be 37 by the time they fight. So Usyk, and I still.
But Usyk's not out of shape. He's never been out of shape.
No, never. I still question that. The body of that body shot. We can debate it all we want, but there's quite a few people that think it was legal, but it doesn't matter. What happened. It wasn't legal. It was ruled illegal, so we have to go off that. But again, part of me says, what if Louis Pabom's not going to be the referee in this Fury fight on February 17th? So what happens if Fury lands a similar shot and it's counted? I mean, we saw Dubois land the same shot against Miller very similarly yesterday, and those shots were counted. You know what I mean? So again, these are the woulda, coulda, shouldas, but it's all going to be about the what is on February 17th, and everything that you're presenting right now. A lot of people have those same questions, and those questions have to be answered. Was that the beginning of the end? What we saw on October 28th in that Ngannou fight? Those are all fair questions.
I mean, listen.
If you're being objective, those are all fair questions. One thing we do know, mentally, Usyk is not going to be up and down.
No.
He doesn't have to be like he shows up, like you said, for every fight. He trains just as hard for every fight. He leaves no stone unturned. Fury, on the other hand, has been up and down. Now, we've seen him go down and in the very next fight, go right back up again. Mm-hmm. But he's 35 years old. Yeah. He's abused his body outside the ring. He's had three tough fights with Wilder. You could say he won. The second fight was not tough. But that first
and that third fight.
But then after that third Wilder fight, when people said, I don't know about him, and they were saying, I think Dillian White may get him, what does he do? He blows Dillian White out of there, doesn't lose a second.
Who thought Dillian White was going to get him? I mean, for real. There was nobody picking Dillian White out there.
There was a lot of UK fans.
Dillian White was washed when he fought him that time.
I agree.
So was Chisora. He's been fighting washed guys.
I will tell you, there were people telling me, coming on this channel, telling me White is going to knock out Fury after they saw what Wilder did, knocking him down those two times in that fourth round in that third fight. They were saying that his legs, they were saying he was gone then, right? So he's been up and down, man. He's been up and down. After the Wallin fight, I remember we had this discussion. You were concerned about that cut, whether it was going to be healed again. And if that was going to play a factor in the third, I think it was the second Wilder fight. And what does he do after that performance? And that second Wilder fight, he blows Wilder out. So this guy's unpredictable, man. He's better when his back is up against the wall. When he's going up, he's not. He's better. He's better when he's down going up. He's not better when he's up there already. This guy needs to have that concern, that doubt. He needs to have that. I'm going to say it. He needs to have that fear of losing. When that fear of losing is not there for Fury, he has a hard time getting up for fights. Ray Leonard was the same way.
Yeah, you know who doesn't have a hard time getting up for fights? Usyk.
Never
doesn't have a hard time. Never. He's always there to fight.
Yeah, see,
when he's not fighting, he's going in war,
Aaron Daly lost a pie bet saying White was going to beat Fury, remember? A lot of these UK guys, every time Fury fights, he could be fighting the guy at 7-Eleven,
they don't like him
behind the register. That guy at 7-Eleven, they're going to say he's going to beat Fury. They just don't like the guy.
I don't know why either. He's good, why not, man? I think that Usyk is going to dog walk Fury in that fight.
I think Fury wins.
I think he dog walks Fury.
George
I think
Lockhart's
it's bad.
George Lockhart's going to put him on that meal plan.
He can put him on slim fast, whatever he wants to do. He can come in at 180. All right, he's losing that fight, son.
You are going to see the Fury that you saw against Dillian White.
Yeah, Ray Leonard never lost to a novice. He never went out there to an amateur and lost.
I know, but when he came back and he fought Howard Davis and he got knocked down in that fight, he wasn't happy with his performance. You know, he just couldn't get up for a guy like that. And Ray Leonard did lose to Hector Camacho. I mean,
Howard Davis, man. Howard Davis, Olympian, baby.
Not Howard Davis. It was Howard Davis. It wasn't Howard Davis. Who was that guy? Who was the guy that I'm trying to remember who it was. I have to go back. I can't remember that guy who it was.
I always remember him coming back against Ayu Kaluli. That was the one.
That was the junior middleweight fight.
Yeah, that 7th rounder. I think he ended in the 7th or 8th round, something like that.
I don't remember who that guy was. Was it Howard? Was it Howard?
Was it Howard Davis?
It wasn't Howard Davis. It was. How the fuck was it?
We always wanted to see him fight Aaron Pryor. I always wanted to see him fight Aaron Pryor.
It was Kevin Howard.
Kevin Howard, that's it.
Not Howard Davis. It was Kevin Howard. I apologize for that, guys. I don't know why I drew a blank there, but it's Kevin Howard, and Ray Leonard ended up winning by 9th round TKO. And this was a 10-round fight. He was in there against the guy Kevin Howard, who he was supposed to blow out of there. Ray Leonard actually gets knocked down in the fight, and takes him 9 rounds to get rid of Kevin Howard. And here's the thing, man. After that fight, he went back into retirement and said, based off that performance, I don't think I'm ready for Marvin Hagler.
Right.
Because everyone that was back in '84, and everyone expected that fight to happen with Marvin Hagler back in '84.
And then you have Marvin Hagler at the press conference and stuff like that.
They had a big event where Leonard was going to give a big announcement. And everyone thought like
it was going to be the Hagler fight.
I think it was in 80. I think it was in 85. It was like at the end of 84, the beginning of 85. And then Leonard gets up on the podium and says, I know a lot of you here are here because you want me to say and announce that I'm going to be fighting Marvin Hagler. That would be a great fight. He goes, a fight between myself and Marvin Hagler would be a great fight, but it'll never happen.
He's
and everyone just was so like, as much as I love Ray Leonard, that was not one of his high points in his career. By doing that, he brought everyone there just to tell them that the fight wasn't going to happen, and everyone was excited. Everyone was excited, thinking that that's the fight we were probably going to get. And he just left it. He just left everyone out. Left everyone out to dry on that.
Yeah,
on that night, and everyone was pissed. And Hagler was in his chair. You could see his face.
Fuming.
You had smoke coming out of his fucking ears, and he never forgave Ray Leonard for that. Because who knows what would have happened if that fight happened in '84 instead of '87?
Oh, I mean, Hagler wins. He won both times, so he would have won then. He won the main fight. So
I thought Ray
complete robbery. I know what you thought. I know you thought Ray. You got a Ray Leonard poster in the background, son.
Listen, I watched that
You're
fight
from
7
Massachusetts.
times. I watched it in slow motion. I played it in reverse.
Ray Leonard won every slow motion.
Ray Leonard won every time, man. He won every time. I'm sorry.
Well, that was a close fight. But let me tell you what wasn't a close fight, man. That co-main event, Deontay Wilder versus Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker demolished Deontay Wilder yesterday, man. It was a unanimous decision. I couldn't give Wilder a round. It was like 118. Scores were like 118, 120. It doesn't matter. Listen, bottom line is Wilder didn't win a round. It was completely one-sided. There was no way anyone could even have Wilder close in this fight. It was embarrassing. Parker walked him down, muscled him. The only real thing, and if you watch this fight, right? The only real thing Parker did was move to his right. That's it. And make him reach with that right hand. Like if Wilder was going to hit him with that right hand, he was going to have to be reaching with it, which means it took some of the power off of that right hand. So if he got hit flush, but some of the power was off because he's out of range. And no adjustments, none on Wilder's part. I could watch this, and I seen it from the first round on. He's moving to his right, so he's trying to take the power off of that right hand, right? So did you throw a left hook? No. Did you try to time him with your jab? No. with any adjustments. None. And if any were suggested, Wilder couldn't perform them. Wilder's done, son. He's got nothing left in the tank. His footwork was horrendous last night. And every flaw that everybody forgot about was on display. Bad footwork. He was unable to adjust. He can only fight one way. He only has one weapon. And the bottom line is, he has one weapon, but last night he had trouble pulling the trigger. He looked old, he looked slow, and he looked like a guy who's fought one round in the past, 2 years?
This just proves Helenius took a dive. This solidifies it. And I'm going to tell you this. Years down the road, we're going to find some evidence, like a bank statement, that a large deposit went in Helenius's account the day after that fight. And it was like, it'll be like a separate transaction for like maybe
a conspiracy theory. This is what we're going with.
I'm telling you,
Robert
right
Helenius is known for his chin, right?
Went 7 rounds with AJ. That was a silent
agreement. And then what happened?
Made.
What happened? What happened in the AJ fight? I forget.
Well, it was a legitimate right hand in the AJ fight, not one of these.
Yeah,
not one of these open
right hand.
Not one of these open hand slaps like the one Wilder landed. This just proves it. This just proves that was fixed. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Stop it. What's the matter with you? What is the matter with you? All the way wrong. All the way wrong. And all those people who said that Wilder would beat AJ, stop it. Stop it.
We all look stupid now because I was one of them.
Omar Rodriguez says, how was Malik Scott's instruction in the corner? This was another thing that kind of bothered me too, is that a lot of times they went to commercials, so you couldn't even see. Like, I don't know if the Zone did that. The Zone does that. Why not go to the corners? Forget the commercials. Go to the corners so we can hear what's going on.
The production is horrible. They never go in the corners, and we never get to hear what the trainers are saying to the fighters. They never show instant replays, and when they do show instant replays, they're always at the most horrible angles, and we can't see everything. That again, people think that that you and I just bash them because for the sake of bashing them, and we're nitpicking. We're not. They suck, bro. The fight was a great card. I'm going to be honest. The second, Eric disagrees with me on this. That's fine. But the second half of the year, they've had a decent schedule, right? But their commentary team sucks. Their production sucks. The quality of their stream sucks in comparison to ESPN Plus and everyone else. They're just bad.
Yeah, they're not good.
They're just bad.
They're not good. So basically the AJ and Wilder fight was set up. It was set up for what, March 9th or something like that?
March 9th, yeah.
I mean, that fight goes by the boards. I mean, who wants to see that fight now?
Nobody.
You know, and I mean, does anybody want to see Joshua Parker too? No.
I know.
Joshua's going to fight the winner of that Tyson Fury fight. The Tyson Fury Usyk fight, Joshua's going to fight the winner.
Yeah, explain to them your theory.
About what? What are you talking about?
Why Joshua will fight the winner of that fight, even though there's supposed to be a 2-fight deal. Explain what you said to me before the show, why you think it's going to be Joshua next.
Yeah, because I told you, Tyson Fury, there's not going to be 2 fights with Tyson Fury and Usyk. There's going to be one. And Usyk is going to walk straight over him. And they're not going to call for a rematch. They're not going to want a rematch. I believe Tyson Fury, win or lose, is his last fight. He's been saying stuff like this for a while. He always says it. So it's only a matter of time before he does it. He's going to get in that ring. And especially if he feels like when he gets in there that he doesn't have it anymore, or that he's not strong enough, or, slick enough, or whatever the case may be, I think he walks away. And I think he's done. And he's older. And he isn't. How old is, what is Fury again? 36?
35.
35.
I think Usyk's going to be 37.
And you said Usyk was 37, but he's an old 35.
He is.
There's a lot of miles on that body.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of miles. MEZ Box says AJ versus Agovic is next. Yeah, possibly.
I don't think it is. I don't think it is. They're gonna wait. They're gonna wait for that fight to happen when there's gonna be a title on the line. I don't think they're gonna do that now.
Yeah.
And that fight with Fury and Usyk happens February 17th, and then regardless of the result, they takes a time about 3 weeks to a month before they tell us when the next fight's going to be or what either fighter is going to do next. So then you're going into March, and by the time those belts get vacated, then you're going into April, right? Mm-hmm. So if AJ does fight Hrgovic, it makes sense to fight him for a vacant IBF title. And
right. They're not going to fight him for no title.
Yeah, and if that were to be the case, right? Why fight him for no title when you can fight him for a title? So before that whole thing plays out, you may not get a AJ Hrgovic until next June or so, and it'll be for a title fight, in my estimation. So in the interim, what happens? I'll tell you what happens, in my opinion. You think I'm crazy? I think he fights Ngannou next because I think Saudi would pay him a boatload of money, just like they paid after what Joshua did against Wallin, right? Now they're going to reward him with another big money fight while they're waiting for him to, wait for that IBF title fight, right? Because I said, again, that's going to be a process. It's not going to snap. You're not going to snap your fingers and automatically that belt's going to be up for grabs.
Right.
Like I said, it's going to take some time for that belt to be vacant and up for grabs. So in the interim, even Tony Bellew was saying this during the broadcast, like, why not do that fight? It's a mega money fight. And you may not like it. People may say, oh, it's not really a big fight. But guess what? That doesn't matter what we say. It matters what Saudi is going to pay to stage that fight.
And they'll pay whatever. So you know what I mean? I mean, they're over there playing soccer players almost $1 billion. I mean, they'll pay whatever. They got the money.
Do not be surprised if we don't end up getting Joshua versus Ngannou in March. And Ngannou already tweeted it out. # Joshua Ngannou. They're saying Ngannou's coming back the first quarter of next year. They've already said that. Frank Warren said it. The Saudis have indicated as such. I think that's next. And I don't hate it. I don't, because why fight Hrgovic without a title on the line when you can fight him with a title on the line? That's number one. Why fight Zhang, right, when you're already in position to fight
the number one dude? Yeah,
you're going to be in position to fight for the IBF title. Why jeopardize that fight in Zhang?
But does anybody want to see AJ Usyk 3? I mean, he lost both times.
Well, here's the
decisively the first time. He lost the second time.
Let me ask you this. Let's throw some scenarios out there. I think Fury is going to win that fight. You think Usyk's going to dog walk him? Let's meet in the middle. What if Usyk ekes out a decision?
Then right? It's going to be that rematch, yeah.
And it looks kind of like competitive or whatever. And then Fury decides, I don't want the rematch. And he, like you said, even win, lose, or draw, close or blowout, say Fury does retire after that.
Yeah.
Right? And Usyk squeaks by that Fury fight. Then you could say, well, maybe you could sell it like Joshua's on a resurgence.
And Usyk's on the way down.
Usyk's maybe on the way down. He's 37, whatever. This Ben Davidson version of Joshua.
I did like Ben Davidson. I did like Ben Davidson.
And here's the thing. Good. Sometimes we dismiss trainers, right? And we like Malik Scott. At no point in time in that fight was there a sense of urgency, right?
No.
They were just telling Wilder what he wanted to hear. And
what were the instructions? Because I was watching a lot of that with the sound off and everything like that. As I watch a lot of the online fights like that. But what were they telling him? Anything?
They were very basic things. You need to move to your right so you can land your right hand. What about setting your right hand up with it? Nothing was said about his jab. Nothing was said about stepping in.
And that jab looked awful.
Nothing was said about maybe throwing more punches, trying to be. Nothing was said about being more aggressive. The only thing I heard in that corner was, you need to move to your right so you can land your right hand. Now, some trainers are very, they don't give really in-depth instruction in the corner.
Yeah.
Right? There's a lot of guys that do that, and some fighters don't like a lot of instruction. Ben Davidson's the opposite. He doesn't just tell you, okay, you need to move to your right and throw the right hand. Okay, well, when he's fainting, right, you need to step in and bend in and then throw the right hand to the stomach. Like he gives you in-depth, very deep, descriptive type instructions. And AJ kind of likes that, because if you go back to that first Usyk fight, right, where McCracken's giving AJ instructions and AJ's asking him questions. Well, how do you want me to do this? What do you want me to do when he does that? Ben Davidson, he'll sit there and give you in-depth, expanded instructions. Okay, when you step in with your jab, you got to make sure you turn. And then when you turn, you got to make sure he's in front of you. And as soon as you step in, shoot that right hand to the body, right? And then step back out and jab on your way. Like he'll give you in-depth instructions.
Yeah.
He'll tell you, he doesn't just tell you how to get from point A to point B. He gives you the roadmap on how to get there. Like I said, he's just more in-depth. And Joshua seems
that comes from knowing your fighters too.
Yeah, and Joshua seems to kind of respond better to that.
Yeah,
he doesn't like those the real short, nondescript type instructions. He likes the in-depth.
Yep.
More the in-depth instruction, and that's what Ben Davidson brings to that. And Maestro and I were talking about this earlier this morning. Like, he really goes in depth and explains more on what he wants you to do. It's not just like a one word or two word type instruction. He gives you sentences.
Yeah, he's good. I like Ben Davidson a lot. I thought he did a great job. And I think that Joshua is going to keep him over Derek James, because
I think he will too.
I didn't think Derek James did that much for him. Honestly, I didn't.
Derek James. Oh, all you need when he was fighting Jermaine Franklin. Oh, just relax. Take your time. Relax. Take your time. That's all he was saying the whole fight.
Yeah.
I think that was the wrong instructions, because he was kind of relaxing a little bit too much.
No urgency. None. Reese Mack says people say that Malik Scott is too much of a yes man buddy to Wilder. Do you agree? Absolutely.
Yes.
I don't think he's a good trainer anyway. You
don't have your best friend as your trainer.
Right.
It's not a good mix. Who has their best? So it's good to have a good relationship with your trainer. That's fine.
Right.
But you don't have a guy who was always your best friend as your lead trainer.
Right.
Because he's going to put your friendship first over what's best for the. And then he said, "Oh, wow!" And then he was like saying before in the press conference for the third Wilder fight, "Oh, well, Deontay's stubborn. He's stubborn." When you're revealing that means that you're butting heads with this guy, and he does what he wants. Like, he's running the camp. You can't have the fighter run the camp.
No,
can't do that.
And Garcia's been accused of the same things. Ryan Garcia's been accused of the same things, where he wants to run camp his way, not the trainer's way. And that's, I think you're seeing Vito Melnecki, while we haven't heard that, he runs the camp. But again, if you need to be at home and you can't go here because you're, it's a lonely sport. It's a thing, you get in the ring by yourself,
All Ben Davidson can do at this point is just help Joshua be able to display what he already has, right? Yeah. He's not going to reinvent the wheel. He's not going to make Joshua something he's not.
He's already there. You know what I mean?
Joshua is who he is.
Yeah.
And the only thing Ben Davidson can do is play to Joshua's strengths and minimize his weaknesses, and just make him believe and keep him confident in the process.
Yeah.
And that's it. if Joshua was second guessing the process, which you kind of got the sense that he was doing with Derek James, then you have a guy who's overthinking and becoming hesitant. But if Joshua just believes in what Ben Davidson's telling him, he's understanding the instructions, he's liking that he's giving him a well thought out plan, and he likes it, and he feels as though Ben Davidson knows what he's talking about, then he's gonna do better under Ben Davidson. It's all a psychological. A lot of it is psychological, because you can't work for someone you hate. You can't have a partnership with someone you hate, right? If you have friction with somebody, you're not going to be able to get things done, right?
No, doesn't work that way.
And what we saw was a cohesive unit last night. Saw a cohesive unit.
All right, let's talk about Dimitri Bivol, Lyndon Arthur. Bivol looked great here, man. Dominated Lyndon Arthur, 120, 107 on all cards. Bivol did exactly what he wanted to do when he wanted to do it. It was completely one-sided. And again, this is another example of the announcers and the announce team. I don't understand what they were looking at, what they wanted to see. They kept saying Bivol needs to win by KO. Listen, he did exactly what he went out there and won every single round by a landslide. He tried to knock Arthur out. Arthur can fight, man. He's a good fighter. Lyndon Arthur is a good fighter.
He's crafty. He was becoming a little bit defensive in there, and
right. And you know as well as I do, if a guy who plays defense decides I don't want to get hit or knocked out, but I'm not going to offer up any offense, you're going the distance.
And Paulie Malignaggi was quick to say the same thing you just said. It's like, if a guy doesn't want to get knocked out, if Lyndon Arthur is fighting to not get knocked out, then he's crafty enough to hang in there and not get knocked out.
Sure.
And Bivol is not that. Bivol is not better beef. He doesn't have one hitter quitter power. He doesn't have it.
It's not his game.
You know,
it's not his game, man.
Like Bivol's got 11 knockouts, bro. I mean, he's just not he's not a knockout guy. Like, no one complained about Mayweather not knocking people out.
Yeah.
Like, gotta let these guys be who they are, man. And if Bivol can win 12-0, then so be it.
Yeah.
So be it. It's not like he's sleepwalking through the fight. He's not fighting like Shakur Stevenson. I mean, he's turning shots over, he's stepping in with shots. So I mean, he's fighting properly.
Yeah. You know, the fight to make is going to be him and Beterbiev, and that's what everybody talks about and everything like that. Beterbiev is another one of those guys. Doesn't fight very often. You know, he doesn't fight very often. He's older now. He's getting older. He's not getting better. He's getting older. He's going to fight Callum Smith. Maybe he beats Callum Smith. Who knows? But it doesn't matter. I think Bivol is younger. He's fresher. He's more active. I think he beats Beterbiev. I really do.
See, I like Beterbiev in that fight.
I like Beterbiev, period, man. But I think, again, you don't get better on the shelf. You know what I mean? You only get older. You don't get quicker.
No, I understand.
You know,
those are all valid points. We'll have to see how Beterbiev, like Beterbiev had a I thought he had a rough out against Yard. I thought that fight was more competitive than I anticipated.
Than it should have been. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. Callum Smith's a tough customer, man. He's a tough customer. We'll see what happens in that fight. I think Beterbiev will come out on top on that fight. And I think we will see Undisputed at 175 next year, because the Saudis want it. And what the Saudis want, they get.
Hey, they're willing to pay for it. Hey, I'm willing to watch, man. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Anything to make these big fights, if it takes, I don't care. And listen, man, I don't care where they take place. You can take them in Saudi, put them in Russia. I don't care. As long as they're happening.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to Saudi to watch a fight, so what do I care?
Yeah, I don't care.
You know, I don't care where it is. Put it on Nickelodeon for all I care.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the fight of the night. Daniel Dubois embarrassed Jarrell Big Baby Miller. Miller talked trash to everyone all week long. He came in and he did not fight at all. He looked every bit of his 333 pounds. By the way, he outweighed Dubois by almost 100 pounds.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? 100 pounds.
You know how I used to always say that was like a functional 333?
Yes.
Well, guess what? That 333 wasn't functional yesterday.
You can say that again.
Wasn't
He wasn't even in shape for this. You know what I mean? Dubois smacked him around the ring all night long. It was great. Miller's 5 minutes of fame are over. He's no longer an attraction after this performance against Dubois. I mean, you know, and this is all, again, man, he talked all this trash to AJ while everybody throughout the press conference. And this guy, again, is getting a second chance when he should have no second chance. You know, he's walked out on promoters. He's canceled big fights. Like, how could you, the drug use and everything like that. How could anybody be on this guy's side? I don't know. But I enjoyed watching Daniel Dubois beat the snot out of him for 12 full rounds. And then the icing on the cake for me was that he stopped him right in the 12th. Couldn't even let him go the distance, boy. Had to stop him in the 12th.
8 seconds left.
Yep.
8 seconds.
That Chavez Taylor stopped too. Yep. Wow. And let me tell you what, and credit to Dubois. He's proved he's now one of the best heavyweights out there. And you guys remember this, and I'm not going to let you forget this. You remember when Beeb lost that bet and he called he would never call Daniel Dubois. He would never call Daniel Dubois by his name. He always said that guy who beat Joe Joyce, or the guy who quit against Joe Joyce, calling Daniel Dubois a quitter. You're going to eat those words now, son, because I remember that like it was yesterday.
What a turncoat you are. For months you hated this guy. Now all of a sudden.
No, not me. I told you about Daniel Dubois. Dynamite.
I told you never to give up on this guy.
I told you. He fought pretty well though, Beeb. I thought he did good. And he looked good. He looked good too. Give him credit. And hey, he was fighting a much bigger guy. I mean, again, 100 pounds, and Miller's a big guy, But yeah, man, he was Reese Max says talk about gaslighting. Okay, Kabura, I've seen this, what's next for Zhilei Zhang? Hey, listen, man, I don't know. And I was shocked that he wasn't on this card. They should have put him on there, right?
No, he was hurt. He was hurt.
Okay, well, there you go.
I'll tell you what I think is going to happen. I think they do the Zhang. They may do the Zhang. They may do the Joe Joyce Daniel Dubois rematch, and they could do Zhang versus Joe Parker. Imagine that.
That's not a bad fight, man.
Imagine
Joseph Parker looked good yesterday. He really did, and I mean, he followed a game plan. He stuck to it. Now Wilder had a lot to do with that, just not being him, not being the Wilder of old. But even the Wilder of old, I don't think beats Joseph Parker.
Who knows, man? I mean, if Wilder can't get you out of there, then he's been down.
We've seen
rounds.
It.
Yeah.
Oh, we've seen it. Gerald Washington, Louis Ortiz, both times. Spilka, I mean, we've seen it a million
down
times.
In the Spilka fight too.
He was absolutely down in that Spilka fight. Yeah, for sure, man.
So,
Aaron Daly said, "Let's get the Dubois Joyce rematch." Hey, I am down for that. I am down. Anything Daniel Dubois does, I'm watching it. So there you go. The big, I tell you, this was the upset of the night for a few fights anyway. I get Caballel versus Arslandik Makhmudov. Makhmudov was a giant, like a monster, man. I mean, when you looked at those two, I looked at him at the weigh-in, I was like, ooh, this is not going to be good. And, man, Caballel beat him down, man. Body shots, head shots, whatever he wanted to do, he did. He came out with a super game plan and executed it to a T. Makhmudov, all the hype and everything that came in with him is out the window now. He looked good. Caballel looked good.
In terms of odds, take away opinion. In terms of odds, this guy, Islam Makhmudov, he was a minus 1,100. So he was the biggest favorite. This, in terms of odds, this was the biggest statistical upset on the card. It was, because Wilder was he was a minus 8. He was a minus 800, right? Wilder was a minus 800, and Parker was like a plus, I think 450 or 500 or something like that. So this guy Caballel was a bigger underdog than Parker was against Wilder. So this was technically the biggest upset on the card. Really?
Oh yeah. Yeah, this was a big one, man. That was a big one. Jai Opatai versus Ellis Zoro. Opatai wins easily. TKO in the first round. He's good, man. Very good technically. How long, B? They were talking about him at cruiserweight. How long before he moves up to heavyweight?
I think we get another 2 years out of him.
Really?
I do. I don't.
He looked good, man.
He's not having problems making the weight. And this is a guy. He reminds me a lot of Usyk. The way he changes levels when he comes in, he likes to go in and out. He's kind of an ambush style type fighter. But there's two things that differentiate him from Usyk, in my opinion. I think he's a better fighter on the inside, deep in the pocket. Usyk's more of a mid-range guy.
Yeah.
This guy can go deep in the pocket and rip the body. He can grind it out with you on the inside.
Yeah.
And another thing too is he's got pound for pound. He's a much heavier hitter than Usyk. He can get guys out of there with one shot, as you saw yesterday. Mm-hmm. Usyk's never not been that guy. So they're similar in size. Usyk's like 6'3", like around the 220 mark. This guy's 6'2". They got similar height and reach. If he does move up to heavyweight, he'll be a small heavyweight. But once again, because of his athleticism, his speed, and he may be able to carry that power up. I mean, he's got that fast twitch muscle fiber. He's got that gift of being, as Max Cameron likes to say, fast twitchy. Yeah. So, genetically, he just may be that guy in terms of being a big puncher. Right? They say punchers are born, not made. Your buddy Teddy Atlas loves to say that, but
I love Teddy Atlas.
Yeah,
the GOAT.
You're probably one of.
And it's good that you mentioned him on this Christmas because I think we should all give thanks to him and be thankful that we have him. You know what I mean? I love his podcast. I'm hoping one day to maybe get an autographed Teddy Atlas photo, but hey, I don't want to reach that high up in the sky. You know what I mean?
Please.
It is what it is. Felipe Ergovic versus Mark Demori. Ergovic wins in the first round. No real surprise here. TKO. Frank Sanchez versus Junior Fa. Sanchez wins by TKO in the 7th. Frank Sanchez won the fight, but he's not impressive. He's really not. I think, what is he, in his 40s? And ended up stopping this dude. And, he's not really getting better. He's a good boxer, but he's not really getting better. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I don't see any real improvement. In fact, I see some, like last night, I saw regression because he just didn't look that great there. And they try to blame it on, like stage fright or whatever, or he's, you know what I mean? Nerves or whatever. I just don't think he's that good. And again, I don't know. What is his build age? What do they bill his age?
He's 31. He's 31. They're saying he is, but he does kind of look old, but I don't know how old he really is, but.
Did you just say he was 31?
Yeah, he's listening.
He's the most shot out 31-year-old I've ever seen. There is no way in the world that dude is 31.
How old do you think?
Come on, son. He's at least 40. Come on, you can look at his face and say he's at least 40. Come on, man.
I mean, I don't really look at him.
Come on, man.
I know I'm not really checking him out like that, man.
Grant G says always add 7 years to QB. I'm not checking him out like anything. I just looked at like his face. It looked like a catcher's mitt. Like, dude, I know you're older than 31. All right, it just is.
What's Grant G trying to imply here, man? That the guy doesn't have a birth certificate?
Yeah, I believe that's what we're all trying to imply here, that he's over 31 years old.
Okay.
That's like King Kong Ortiz when they were trying to bill him like he was a little whippersnapper kid or something like that. That guy was like 90 years old in there.
I don't feel like dealing with a defamation case, so I'm not going to touch that.
Defamation case. All right. Overall, did you like the card? I love the card.
I did like the card a lot.
I thought it was really good.
I thought it was a great card.
Yeah.
And here's the thing too. When people are going to look back at this and say, why did they not do Joshua Wilder, right? But hindsight's 2020, and I get it.
He should have beat Parker. He was big favorite to beat Parker.
No one really expected Wilder to lose to Parker, with all due respect to Parker, because this is a Parker that has lost to Dillian White. I thought he lost to Derek Chisora the first fight. He was knocked out by Joe Joyce. And this is a guy who's a solid guy. He's a very skilled fighter, but he has been up and down. And no one expected him to do what he did yesterday. So we could sit there and say that Joshua should have been in there with Wilder yesterday, and if Joshua was in there, he would have blew Wilder out. But again, we can Monday morning quarterback it all day. Who knows? Who knows? Like when you're kind of thinking this through, like the Saudis sometimes, like they almost blew Undisputed because they had Fury fighting Ngannou when Ngannou almost upset the apple cart. So do we do these in between fights and then have these deals where, okay, you fight this guy and if you beat this guy, then we have a contract ready for you for the next fight? Is this a good way to kind of map out a fighter's career where you're already having, his next couple fights already road mapped out and signed? Like supposedly they already signed for a fight with Wilder for March 9th, pending that both guys won.
Right.
So now you end up looking past your opponent, right? And there's extra pressure on you. Is that the way you want to do business moving forward? Is that great per se for in the long run for the sport and for the fighters? Yeah. Or should you just put the big fights on right away and not have to have these interim fights in between? Because again, we almost had a hiccup with Fury and Ngannou, and we most certainly had a hiccup last night with Wilder and Joshua. So Joshua should have been in there yesterday instead of Parker. And again, great for Parker. You got a great payday. But I'm just talking in terms of what I would do in terms of smart business, right? Why marinate these fights longer? Why marinate a fight we already had to wait 5 years for it, marinate it longer?
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Now a big money fight gets taken off the table. You lose a big money fight that you could have made a lot. It just I would think it's just bad business. It's just like, again, shout out to the Saudis. They put on a great card yesterday. As a fan, I enjoyed it. $40? Beautiful.
Yeah, but that was worth every penny.
But did you shoot yourself in the foot by having these interim fights and not putting Wilder Joshua right away? Mm-mm. It looks like you did.
No, this is actually good for the sport. It's actually good for boxing because now we have new people in there.
Yeah, it opens up the division.
Guys, it opens up the division completely. Right. Now we got new people in there. I got new matchups now. Yeah. This guy who dominated Wilder now is going to fight AJ for the second time, or can now fight whoever for the second time. And the guy who had all these fights were showcase fights. We knew this going in.
Let me ask you this: would now that Wilder lost and AJ won in very impressive fashion, and then you have Ngannou coming off that phenomenal performance against Fury, would Joshua versus Ngannou now, under these circumstances, after what we've just seen, would it be a bigger fight than Wilder versus Joshua would have been? No? Okay.
No.
I'm just curious.
Ngannou's more of an attraction right now, more of a sideshow right now. And again, we're basing all of this on a loss. Because no matter what you and I think, we think he won the fight. Great. But your reputation is still based on a loss.
Yeah. If you and I were two judges in that fight, he would have won the fight. I had him winning by a point. You had him winning wide. I had him winning.
I had him way up. I had him.
Yeah. I thought it was a fight that could have gone either way, but I had him winning on my card. I really did. I scored
absolutely.
It for him. I scored it for him.
Yeah, we both did. And it was like, yeah. So, all right, let's talk about the upcoming fights here. December 26th. Tokyo, what is this, Tuesday, isn't it? Yeah, was it Tuesday?
I believe it's Tuesday, yeah, that's correct.
Tuesday morning, so it's a morning special. I love those fights in the morning. Naoya Inoue, ESPN Plus, Naoya Inoue versus Marlon Tapales, 12 rounds for Inoue's WBC, WBO, junior featherweight titles, and Tapales's IBF and WBA junior featherweight titles, undisputed. How can you not love this, Beeb?
You can't. You can't hate it.
Disputed. At the end of the year, man. At the end of the year.
Is Inoue fighter of the year if he wins this fight in impressive fashion? I'm going to say
Inoue's fighter of the year regardless. Yeah, he's going to win this fight.
He's my fighter of the year.
He's got to be, right?
Unless he gets upset or this is a nail biter, then he's my fight.
Tapales can fight. Listen, Tapales can fight. It's not like he sucks. He can fight.
Yeah.
Nobody really on the undercard of note. It looks like, at least I don't recognize any of the names. I mean, they're not of note to me. So there you go. December 31st in Tokyo. Now I don't have a TV date or anything like, or a TV or anything like that on here, a channel you can watch it on. So you probably have to catch it on YouTube or whatever. This is their December 31st. They always do a show on New Year's Eve.
This could be an ESPN Plus fight, maybe. I don't know.
I think it might be Kaz Ioka versus Josper Perez, 12 rounds for Ioka's WBA junior bantamweight. So there you go. Yeah, it might be on ESPN Plus. It wouldn't shock me, put it that way, if it was on ESPN Plus. And that's it. And then January 6th, coming up in January 6th, Virgil Ortiz, they announced this last night, versus Frederick Lawson, 12 rounds, junior middleweights.
I don't hate it.
I'm indifferent. It doesn't, that's not a blockbuster fight I'm going to pay $25 for.
No, you're not going to get a monthly membership for that one.
No. O'Hara Davis versus Ismael Barrasso on the undercard. Arnold Barboza Jr. versus the dreaded TBA. Sergey Derevyachenko versus the dreaded TBA. No. In fact, no, I'm not going to give $25 to watch this fight. No way. DAZN is starting off the new year just like they, unlike they ended the last year, but with just mediocre fights.
Yeah.
Mediocre fights. This wouldn't even qualify as an HBO fight.
And Top Rank is coming out the gate hot and heavy again. They got Fury Usyk. They got Betterby versus
Callum Smith on the 13th. Yeah.
So and then they're closing it out with Inoue. So it's good.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, man. Rondo says that TBA guy really stays active. When does the voting start for Caller of the Year? Sontero Media. Oh boy. Yeah. So I tell you, and Joe knows this as well as I do. I'm not a big fan of the end of the year shows where we do like Fighter of the Year, Knockout of the Year. I'm just not a big fan of that, but I know you guys like it. So we'll do it next week. And remember, be here at 11 o'clock next week. So 11 a.m. we'll do the same thing because it's a holiday. It's New Year's Eve. I get it, So we'll do it early. So Joe can go out there, get his drink on all night as he usually does on New Year's. Gets completely. I'll tell you what, Joe called me last New Year's completely hammered.
That's blasphemous.
Completely hammered.
I haven't had a drink since.
It's unbelievable. I heard there was like 4 or 5 guys in the background at his house. I don't know what was going on. Listen, I don't want to speculate.
I'm born again, man. I don't drink.
I'm just saying. After that night, maybe you should be. You know what I mean? Absolutely. All right, let's talk about the news and rumors, and then we're going to get you guys out of here. Larry Merchant is being reported by TMZ that Larry Merchant is in the hospital in critical condition. They said this happened on Thursday when Merchant was rushed to the hospital. No cause is known at this time. But, Beeb, you said you heard something about he's okay now?
Yeah, he's okay now. It's kind of, I guess, his family, someone from his family reached out to some people in the business, and they reported. I think Dan Raphael said this as well. One of his family members reached out to Dan Raphael. Dan Raphael reported that the incident was overblown a little bit. He wasn't as bad as everyone said he was. It was kind of like a minor incident, not a major one. So
what is he, like 90 or something like that?
Shit, he's late 80s, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's up
I was never, listen, I don't wish ill on anybody, but I was never really a big Larry Merchant fan. I never liked him. I always thought his little ramblings, he sounded like somebody who was always like, just didn't know where he was going with them. And he tried to make this like real poignant statement. And he just never, I don't know. I never liked him.
He was another one of those. He was another one of those narrative creators, kind of.
Yeah. He was nowhere. I mean, listen, if you're going to like talk about announcers, he's not Teddy Atlas. That much I can tell you. No way. I mean, he's not even on that upper echelon tier.
Oh, please.
I don't even think he's in the same ballpark as Teddy Atlas, but that's just me. That's me.
Jesus.
I don't know. Jermel Charlo was arrested for assault Saturday in Texas, charged with a misdemeanor assault causing bodily injury to a family member, a Fort Bend County Sheriff's Office public information officer told ESPN on Wednesday. Charlo was released on bond after bond was posted on Monday. Now, was this his wife, Beeb? You said you said
his wife.
There's a video.
It was his wife. Yeah, there's a
Yeah,
video.
that's what I took it because she filed a restraining order and everything like that.
Yeah.
So I took it that he beat her up. But what happened? Now you said you saw like some kind of Reese Mack.
It was kind of it was the audio. It was the audio from the Ring device that people have, the home security system, and he basically said like, I thought she was tougher than that. I thought she could take a shot. Her eyes all purple now. I can't believe she called the cops on me. Called her the B word, and it was just horrible. Wow. Man. He was bragging about how he did it. So I was disgusted by it as most everyone else was as well. And she divorced him, obviously, and it's a mess, man. It's a mess.
And just bragging about it. I think that's the thing, just bragging about it. You know what I mean?
We talked about this on the round table, and if I was
says he hit a trans woman.
Yeah, he's just trolling. But we talked about this on the round table, and it's funny that if you're a sanctioning body, what do you do here? Like, do you have like a moral clause in your bylaws or something like that?
I think you got to strip them, no?
Yeah, if it's up to me, I'm stripping the guy.
Yeah, when that tape comes out, I strip him. Yeah, when he's talking about beating her up, I don't
want this guy representing me as a champion if I'm a sanctioning body, to be honest with you.
Right.
But again, though, just like the Mayweather situation, WBC said, "Oh well, this is only a misdemeanor; it's not a felony, so we are not going to strip Mr. Mayweather." And it's like, okay, we'll just keep downplaying the severity of these domestic violence incidents, and nothing will ever get done.
Yeah.
I think if the penalty was stricter for these incidences, I think you'd probably see a lot less of them. But that's just my opinion.
Right. No, I agree. If you're going to lose, like I said, a lot of money, a lot of status or whatever by doing this, why does he get a lot of them get passes?
Maybe do more.
Maybe do some first.
Maybe do some jail time as well.
Right.
Mandatory jail sentence.
Jerry Tasker says Gaddy used to beat his wife. Oh, that's wonderful. So what? What's your point?
Again, when you have these people coming out and they're talking about everyone else that did it, it's like,
right. What about this? What about him? What about blah blah
blah? This is one topic where whataboutisms really are not applicable here. You don't want to use that whataboutism argument in this case.
Right.
It's
don't be stupid because it's inexcusable.
It's just inexcusable.
Yeah. Clarissa had the line of the night here. He should have taken out that anger on Canelo. Yeah, right?
Yeah, everyone was saying that, yeah.
Idiot. What a complete idiot.
Yeah.
So Vasyl Lomachenko and George Kambosos are in the process of finalizing a deal for the IBF lightweight title fight in April or May in Kambosos' native Australia. Sources told ESPN. This is according to my man, the ultimate boxing reporter, my favorite Beeb, Mike Coppinger.
I mean, Bob already told us that this fight was going to happen. We don't need Coppinger to tell us.
It's Coppinger, not Cappinger. And one of these days, you know what? I'm gonna ice it down. Maybe I'll get him on the show. I'm gonna bring him on the show, and I'm gonna let him know.
He would
all the trash you talked about him all this time. And it's Christmas time too. You don't even give him a break, do you? It's cold-blooded.
He'll never do it.
Cold fish. You don't think I can get Coppinger on the show?
He'll never come on here.
Why? Why would he never come on here?
He doesn't want to deal with he won't deal with my rapid fire questions. I'd light that guy up if he came on here.
Stupid. All right, guys, that's it, man. That's all we got for today. That's our edition of Ringside Reporter. As always, you can catch Joe Habib on Twitter at jhabib1. Find our YouTube channel at ringsidereporterlive.com, and you can find me on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it these days, at Ringside73. Next week, we will be here same time, 11 a.m. Merry Christmas, everybody. I hope you guys have a great holiday. Whatever you guys celebrate, have a great one. And Totek says he just got here. Don't worry about it. You can always rewind us. You got that little rewind button on there. You can
watch the archive, man.
You can see us. Yeah, watch the archive. Watch it again. And just watch the archive and then just talk to the screen. You know what I mean? It'll be like you're here with us. There you go. All right, guys. I will see you guys. We will see you guys next week.